Belly of Darkness, Redemption from the Grave by Tisha Roberson. Prologue. 12 years ago, Stone Mountain, Georgia. Hadassah Jackson woke up gasping for air. She sighed in relief, rubbing the crust from her slanted brown eyes. The room was dark, with a strange breeze blowing the curtains. She could barely see anything. Thank the gods, it was just another horrific dream. Hadassah's television must have turned off automatically from the timer. She fell asleep watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? Marathon on Nickelodeon. Hadassah had a compelling appetite for entertainment that glorified ghost stories, ancient mysteries, and the supernatural world. Suddenly, she heard a strange sound that sounded like a chorus of chanting. She sat up quickly, listening closely. There was music playing with no words. It was eerie, enchanting, and hypnotic. Hadassah pulled the covers quickly over her face, contemplating what to do. She knew the rules. Hadassah's parents stressed numerous times to all their children with seriousness and sarcasm. You better not come out of your rooms after midnight, unless you are about to die. They were very loving parents who took pleasure showering their children with their love in words and with plenty of affection. Truthfully, all the kids knew if they needed their parents, all they need to do is shout their names. Hadassah told herself that she should lay back down, close her eyes, and try to return to sleep. She never questioned their rule before. Her 10-year-old mind became extremely curious. She needed to know what was going on downstairs every Saturday night at midnight for the last 10 years of her life. Hadassah pushed her baby alive doll to the side, grabbed her favorite flashlight from under her pillow, and climbed out of her big canopy bed. The big fluffy rug placed underneath the bed felt soft and warm to her bare feet. She crept slowly to the bedroom door, opening it quietly. She could see a faint light coming from the downstairs great room. They lived in a large modern home with high-end furnishings in Stone Mountain, Georgia, an Atlanta suburb. All 5 children had their own bedrooms. Hadassah walked past one of her little sister's bedroom. The people chanting coming from downstairs grew louder. The skin on her exposed arms produced goosebumps. Now is the time to give this beautiful, bloody sacrifice to our master. The familiar, deep, and smooth voice came from a male. Hadassah tried to recall the voice, but no face or name appeared in her memory.
I will not be afraid. I can do this. I'm a Jackson,
she whispered to herself as she tiptoed down the hallway. Hadassah felt a tug on her nightgown. Hadassah was about to scream until she felt a cold hand instantly cover her mouth. She saw from her peripheral view a long blonde braid and a tiny pale hand. Shh, it's me, Taylor. Hadassah's younger and adopted sister whispered.
What are you doing out of your room?
Hadassah turned and faced her sister with a hand on her hips.
I should ask you the same. I want to know what Daddy and Mommy are doing down there,
Taylor replied, crossing her arms.
Go back to your room, Tay-Tay.
Hadassah knew her little sister was sweet, but could be as stubborn as a donkey.
I'll go back to my room, Dassa, if you go back to yours.
The chanting and music grew more intense. She quickly grabbed Taylor's hand. They began walking slowly towards the end of the long hallway with anticipation and fear.
Bring the fetus to the altar, the familiar male voice commanded.
That's the mayor,
Taylor whispered.
Mayor Sherman. I knew I heard that voice before.
At the end of the hallway was a balcony that overlooked the great room. Hadassah and Taylor both peeked slightly over the balcony. The great room was filled with around 20 people gathered around a tiny stage in the middle. You could feel a dark and powerful energy invading the atmosphere. The room was lit up with dozens of candles placed around the room. Some of the people were dressed in dark cloaks. You could not see their faces. There were several beautiful women dressed in skimpy attire that looked like lingerie. They were doing a strange and seductive dance in unison. It was extremely captivating, spellbinding, and mesmerizing. There were people lying prostrate in front of a tiny stage, chanting in a strange tongue. The words were from an ancient language. It was not English. The voices did not sound like it came from humans. It was as if something ancient and dark were chanting through them. Hadassah's mother stepped forward from her husband's side and handed Mayor Sherman a tiny bundle wrapped in cloth. He was dressed in a large red cloak. However, his face was not covered. Mayor Sherman's eyes were eerie. They were pitch black.
12 years later. Atlanta, Georgia. Chapter 1.
The sound of celebration vibrated throughout the atmosphere. The band on stage played a lively and soulful tune from earth, wind, and fire. The smells of mouth-watering appetizers, gourmet foods, choice wines, and delicious desserts permeated the large ballroom in an upscale hotel in downtown Atlanta. "May I have your attention, please?" a voluptuous woman in an astonishing evening gown announced on the microphone. All the music, dancing, laughter, and trivial chatter ceased. The attendees gave their undivided attention to the center of the ballroom. The woman stood in front of a small glass podium with a glass of wine in her right hand. "We are excited that all of you have come to celebrate this joyous occasion with us. Wang Jackson is now a partner for one of the most prestigious and successful law firms in Atlanta, Van Dyke Mason Jackson. Let's give a toast to his success." She gulped a few sips of wine quickly. The sounds of applause, cheers, and claps erupted all over the room. Wang Jackson walked smoothly to the center of the podium with a huge, flawless smile and began speaking on the microphone. He looked handsome in a black and white striped tuxedo paired with Stacey Adams. Wang was in his mid-40s. It was apparent his sculpted cheekbones and slanted small eyes came from his Chinese mother. However, his smooth brown skin, thick hair, athletic build, and swag was inherited from his African-American father. Hadassah Jackson was overwhelmed with excitement as she listened to her father speak. She stood next to her beautiful mother, squeezing her hand. Sade, Hadassah's mother, glowed with pride and love watching her influential and successful husband speak. Hadassah's mother was petite, youthful, with dark chocolate skin, long black hair flowing down her back, and dressed in an exquisite dress that emphasized an hourglass figure. Hadassah resembled her mother, but her slanted brown eyes, long eyelashes, and skin tone was a result of her daddy's genes. "I couldn't have made it this far if it were not for my beautiful wife, Sade Jackson. She has been there through the thick and the thin. When I have been discouraged and desired to give up and throw in the towel, Sade pushed, loved, and encouraged me, like a loyal queen supports her king." Wang's voice cracked with heartfelt emotion. He paused to gather himself. The crowd turned their attention to admire Sade. Wang looked at his wife intensely, with an unyielding love and fiery passion. Hadassah, at age 22, longed for the day that her heart would beat deeply for a man. She made up her mind that she would not settle. She would have the love her parents shared for over 2 decades, no matter the cost. The sound of applauses brought her back from her thoughts into the present. Wang walked away from the podium to chat with his colleagues. The band began playing another tune, the crowd went to the dance floor, and resumed their trivial conversations. Troy King, the son of Mayor King, swaggered towards Hadassah and her mother. Troy was tall, dark-skinned, dressed in a classic tuxedo, and it was evident that he played football for many years. She felt butterflies stirring in her stomach. Hadassah refused to reveal to Troy that his charm drove her crazy at times. He was a cocky, charming womanizer. His head was so big that it would fly off his body if it were not attached. There were plans in place for him to follow his father's footsteps in the political arena. Mama was determined to see them together and married. Hadassah quickly pulled herself together as he approached them both. "You ladies look beautiful. It's apparent that Hadassah gets her breathtaking looks from you, Mrs. Jackson," Troy replied in a charming voice as he bent over to kiss Hadassah's mother on the cheek. Mama blushed, fanning her face. He turned quickly to face Hadassah. Troy looked her up and down, unashamedly, with a hungry appetite. Hadassah immediately fixed her facial expression to neutral. Hadassah was used to the male species drooling over her when they entered her presence. The band began playing KCI and JoJo. Troy began singing playfully the words as he stared at Hadassah. And all my life I've prayed for someone like you, and I thank God that I finally found you. All my life I've prayed for someone like you, and I hope that you feel the same way too. Troy could sing. He sounded like a young Brian McKnight. However, Hadassah knew it was all an act.
Troy, I don't have time for your games. Boy!
She gave him a smile and a playful punch to his broad and muscular chest. Troy chuckled at her response. You two young people need to go get your dance on. The night is still young. Y'all look good together. Mama smiled and winked as she shooed them on, walking away to join her husband. Troy grabbed her hand as they walked to the dance floor. Hadassah struggled inside. She wanted to dance with him. She loved to dance. Yet, she did not want Troy to think he could have her wrapped around his fingers, like them thirsty females. However, Hadassah did not want to spoil the night for her mother. Hadassah decided to go with the flow and make the best of it. The music played in the background. Suddenly, the lights were dimmed and everyone else faded away. Troy pulled Hadassah possessively as they danced. Hadassah, I don't know how I'm going to be able to keep my hands off of you, Troy stated in a deep and husky voice. Hadassah was dressed in an emerald green dress that accentuated her tiny waist and curves, paired with a set of pearl necklace and earrings. Troy tugged softly on one of her curls. Hadassah's thick, kinky, long black hair was styled in a fancy updo with tiny ringlets framing her face. The style accentuated her exposed neck. Hadassah felt her body shiver as Troy pulled her closer. It was becoming impossible to remain neutral to Troy's effect, and boy, was he becoming aware of it.
Thank you, Troy. You don't look too bad yourself.
Hadassah responded in a playful tone, trying to lighten the mood. She decided to change the subject and stir the conversation in a different direction.
How do you like your new career as an investment banker?
It's going all right. Honestly, I would have preferred being a football coach for a local university, but... Troy frowned as he appeared to be lost in deep thought. They continued to dance closely and silently as the band played another romantic slow jam. Troy had his arms wrapped snugly around her tiny waist. Hadassah was glad she had on heels. It made it easier to encircle her arms around Troy's neck. She looked up into his eyes.
Troy, why didn't you choose to follow the career you're passionate about?
She looked at him with a genuine concern. For a moment, Hadassah thought Troy would ignore her question. However, he looked down into her eyes with a rawness and vulnerability. Hadassah, you know how... Never mind. Enough about that. Troy instantly transformed his expression to the cocky man she was used to encountering. Hadassah was surprised that there appeared to be more layers to Troy than she initially thought. It was like he gave her a glimpse of who he was, without a mask. That gave Hadassah a tiny measure of hope that maybe she should consider giving Troy a shot. Immediately, she scolded herself silently for considering this womanizer. How do you like working and being on air as one of the sexy co-hosts for Z103 Gossip Girls? Troy asked with a charming smile flashing across his masculine face. Hadassah decided to let him off the hook as he redirected the conversation to her career.
I am so glad that Daddy was able to use his connections to help get me this position. I love working for Z103. There are so many networking opportunities of meeting influential people. I have always been passionate about communication and journalism. And what girl would not love to get paid to talk about the latest gossip concerning reality TV, Hollywood, the music industry, and the latest happenings in the ATL?
Hadassah snapped her fingers, and Troy responded with a genuine smile. They danced to several upbeat songs in addition to The Wobble. After the Cupid Shuffle ended, Troy tapped Hadassah's shoulder. Hadassah, I don't know about you, but a brother is hot from all this dancing, Troy winked. Let's step outside on the balcony and get some fresh air. Troy stopped dancing as he waited for her to respond. Hadassah looked around the room, attempting to locate her parents. At first, she could not see them. The dance floor was jammed packed with people dancing, like it was the Freaknik in the 90s. Hadassah had become so engrossed in conversing with Troy that she was unaware of the activity surrounding her. Hadassah finally spotted her parents on the opposite side of the dance floor. They were snuggled up closely together, dancing, smiling at one another, and lost in their own world of love. Hadassah sighed.
Let's go outside, Troy, but only for a little bit.
She looked at him cautiously. A server passed by with glasses of sparkling cider and red punch on the tray. May I give you something to drink? I know you both must be famished from all of that dancing, the server stated politely. Yes, ma'am, perfect timing. Troy grabbed 2 glasses of sparkling cider. He gave Hadassah a glass and gulped his down quickly. They both gave the server their empty glasses and politely thanked her. Troy touched the small of Hadassah's back and escorted her towards the balcony. There were a few people having a private conversation sitting on a bench in the corner. It was serene and peaceful. The view was extremely breathtaking. At night, you could see the whole city of Atlanta lit up with tall buildings and skyscrapers. There were beautiful flowers, plants, and lovely candles displayed around the balcony. It set the atmosphere for a romantic night. Hadassah walked to the edge of the balcony to admire the view. Troy followed and stood beside her in silence. Hadassah felt a little hesitant. Troy's current mood gave off a serious vibe. Hadassah was used to the playful, arrogant, and flirtatious Troy. However, she was not used to Troy without the mask. Hadassah had known him for approximately a few years. They ran in the same social circles throughout Atlanta, but Hadassah became confused with why now he began showing glimpses of himself unmasked. Troy broke the silence, interrupting Hadassah's confusing thoughts. Why do you keep me at arm's length? I know you feel something for me. The vibe that I am feeling from our chemistry is undeniable, Hadassah. On top of that, both of our parents think we are a good match. Hadassah felt her heart beating quickly. Usually, she always had a witty or sarcastic response ready at her disposal. However, it was evident that Troy was genuine and demanded a satisfying explanation.
Troy, all of my life I have seen how my daddy and mama have loved each other. I know there are many people who run in our circles that put on a display in public, pretending to really love and value each other. But it's not real.
Hadassah paused and turned towards Troy.
My parents' love is legit, Troy. My parents' love is just as real in public as it is in the privacy of our home. My brothers, sisters, and I have witnessed their love for each other all our life. Oh, you best to believe there have been times when they were angry with each other. However, their love has always conquered every obstacle.
Hadassah exhaled a breath that she did not realize she was holding.
That's the kind of love I desire, Troy.
Hadassah's heart continued to beat fast with passion. Hadassah could not believe she just bared her soul to Troy. Hadassah looked up at him with a silent plea. The expression on Troy's face was unreadable. Troy bent his head down and kissed Hadassah deeply. Her traitorous lips responded back with passion. However, Hadassah quickly came to her senses. It took every ounce of strength to step back from that mind-blowing kiss. I can't do this with you, Troy, Hadassah yelled. Why not, Hadassah? Troy responded gently. He stepped forward, trying to reach for Hadassah's hand. Tell me you didn't feel what I felt in that kiss, Troy challenged her. I'll walk away if you tell me I'm lying, he said with an angry expression. The people on the balcony ceased their quiet conversation and gave their undivided attention to the dialogue between Troy and Hadassah.
Troy, I don't want a husband who is only looking for eye candy to look good on his arms to further his political career. I want a husband who will love only me with every fiber of his being. In return, I will not hesitate to give him all my love. I will shout this from the rooftop, Troy King. I refuse to have a husband that's in and out of the bed with the whole block. I am not a desperate and thirsty female. I am Hadassah Jackson.
Hadassah responded angrily with her hands positioned on her hips. Troy stood directly in front of Hadassah. He calmly and gently lifted Hadassah's chin with his right hand. Hadassah felt herself tremble at his touch. One thing about a real man, he will go after what he wants. And if he finds a lady worthy to share his heart with, he will not hesitate to commit his heart and body to only her. But you will never know what kind of man I can be to you because you are too chicken to give us a try. Troy dropped his hand gently from her chin. He turned around quickly and swaggered back into the ballroom without looking back. Chapter 2.
Ladies and gents, I hope y'all enjoyed today's broadcast of Gossip Girls. Please tune in tomorrow for some more juicy gossip about T.I. and Tiny from an inside source. Be sure to follow us on all our new social media platforms. My co-host Courtney and I appreciate all the love.
Hadassah winked at Courtney, cueing her to speak. Don't forget that Hadassah and I will be hosting this year's Summer Jams at Cosmolava at Midtown. Courtney smiled. And Ashanti, Lil Jon, Ludacris, Destiny's Child, Eve, Nelly, and a few surprise guests will be joining us. There are only a handful of tickets left. Hurry and get your tickets on z103radio.com. Courtney pointed quickly to Hadassah.
As always, hugs and kisses.
Hadassah made a kissing sound with her lips. Afterwards, a corny commercial about life insurance began playing. Hadassah sighed as she removed her headset. She logged out of the computer screen and took a big sip of cold lemonade. The lemonade soothed Hadassah's parched throat. She was exhausted from the busy weekend of celebrating Daddy's new partnership at his law firm. Courtney looked at Hadassah with concern and curiosity. Girl, do you want to grab some drinks at happy hour? I'm down to go to whatever restaurant. Courtney looked like a runway model, always dressed in the latest fashion and resembled a black Barbie doll. Courtney stood up to straighten her skirt. My braids still feel too tight. Courtney's hair was styled in braids in a high bun. She removed the rubber band, which allowed her waist-length braids to flow down her back.
Courtney, actually this evening, Mama, little sister Brooke, and me will be meeting up for sweet tea and cupcakes.
Hadassah began straightening up her workspace and preparing to leave work.
Trust me, I would rather have a few strong drinks after this crazy weekend.
Hadassah sighed.
It's an ongoing tradition that my mama, sisters, and me meet up once a month to indulge in sweet desserts, sweet tea, and catch up. But it still has not been the same since Tay-Tay moved to attend the University of Alaska Anchorage.
Hadassah grabbed her purse. No worries, girl. I'll take a rain check. I wish my family were as close as your family. Hadassah, don't ever take that for granted. Courtney grabbed her Kate Spade's purse as they departed from Z103, Gossip Girl's studio. Hadassah exited the elevator into the packed parking garage. She waved to the friendly security guard on duty and walked towards her silver Escalade. Hadassah looked down to examine and straighten the wrinkles from her polka dot sundress. Hadassah's short dress displayed her short, toned legs. Her Stephen Madison heels accentuated her shapely calves and freshly pedicured toes. Hadassah's thick, long hair hung down her back with a feminine floral and polka dot flower from Claire's Accessories. Suddenly, Destiny Child's Bugaboo song began playing loudly. It caught Hadassah off guard, causing her to jump. She giggled once she realized it was the customized ringtone for Taylor. Hadassah opened the passenger door and laid her bags on top of the leather seat. Afterwards, Hadassah grabbed her cell, walked around to the driver's side, and climbed up into the seat.
Hey, Tay-Tay.
Hadassah responded as she switched the phone to speaker. Hey, sissy. I just got out of class. I wanted to chat with you to see how this weekend's celebration for Daddy went. Hadassah buckled her seatbelt as she listened closely to Taylor. I wish I could have been there, but I had 2 major tests and a project for sociology due. Hadassah reached over to fix the rear view mirror.
Girl, we all understand. Daddy knew you would have been there if you could. Girl, I know you missed this Atlanta traffic.
Hadassah stated sarcastically as she turned onto the highway into heavy traffic. Girl, bye, Taylor giggled.
I'm actually headed to downtown Decatur now to meet Mama and Brooke for sweet tea and cupcakes. We really miss you being there with us. It has not been the same, Tay-Tay.
I am sure Brooke will have some dramatic story to share. It has never been a dull moment with that child. She entered into the world from Mama's womb dramatic.
Hadassah laughed loudly. Taylor responded with a loud outburst of giggles.
Seriously, Daddy's celebration party was off the chain. His law firm did not spare any expenses. It was a huge turnout with many influential people and government officials. Some people even came from out of state to be part of Daddy's celebration.
Hadassah sighed as the night on the balcony with Troy flashed vividly through her mind. Well, why do you sound kind of down, Hadassah? I know you. I can tell when something has been bothering you. Taylor interrupted Hadassah's thoughts.
Tay-Tay, do you remember Troy King? You met him during one of the Christmas parties a few years ago that our parents hosted at the Marriott downtown. Troy's father is Mayor King.
Yes, I remember his fine self, Taylor interrupted.
The last several months, our interactions have gone from more flirtatious into something a little more, I guess.
Hadassah paused. Taylor and Hadassah were extremely close, but she was still processing what happened with Troy and was not ready to discuss his effect on her. Girl, just spill the tea for goodness sake. Quit keeping me in suspense, Taylor demanded as she giggled.
You know he's known for being a womanizer in everybody's bed. Yet Troy has showed me briefly a glimpse of the real him behind the mask. Honestly, girl, his transparency scared the mess out of me. It planted a small desire to want to be with him. That truth is scaring the mess out of me. I refuse to get my heart played with.
I feel you, Taylor responded.
Our parents, especially Mama, wants us to be together.
Hadassah rolled down her windows to let fresh air inside as she drove. Wow, Hadassah, that is serious. However, I am sure you will figure things out. You always do. Are you still planning to visit me next month? I cannot wait to see my big sissy and best friend. Plus, Brady McPherson has been asking about you. He shared with me lately when he calls or texts you, you claim to be busy. Hadassah felt guilt bubbling up inside as she listened closely to Taylor. He's been wondering if you're still coming or if something is wrong. Hadassah interrupted with a quick response.
Yes, I look forward to some time away in the beautiful last frontier. Being in Alaska does wonders for my mental health.
Hadassah replied.
As far as Brady goes, I really do enjoy being with him. He looks like the typical handsome white dude from Cali that was a jock in high school and could have been on Saved by the Bell. Brady is funny. He makes me feel so special. He's intelligent, and I feel like I have no cares in the world when I'm with him. We had some real good times. However, his mama doesn't like me. I am not sure if it's because I'm black or she thinks I am after his money. Regardless, he wants to remain in Anchorage. I cannot see myself living in Alaska for the rest of my life, being married and raising kids.
I am a true Georgia peach through and through.
Hadassah paused for a while and took a deep breath.
Tay-Tay, I have a confession.
I have been ignoring his calls lately and making up petty excuses. Brady does not know I aborted his baby after my last visit to Anchorage.
Tay-Tay, you're the only person who knows about the abortion. Lately, I have been so confused with Troy as well. I am not for certain what to do, but I do look forward to visiting you soon.
Hadassah chatted with Taylor as she pulled into Southern Belle's Sweet Tea and Cupcakes parking lot.
I love you, Tay-Tay. I have just arrived. I will talk to you later.
I love you too, big sissy. Hang in there. Bye, Taylor responded. Hadassah ended the call. Hadassah spotted Mama and Brooke seated in an outside dining area on the second floor as she parked. Southern Belle's Sweet Tea and Cupcakes was a cute little establishment with pretty bows, flowers, vibrant colors, and all things feminine. It was a place where socialites and women who came from wealth liked to congregate. Men were not allowed. Hadassah could hear the high-pitched chatter of her 17-year-old little sister. Hadassah sighed. She was not in the mood for Mama's intuitive questions or persuasive advice. In addition, she did not feel like hearing Brooke's theatrical stories tonight. Hadassah reflected on Courtney's advice concerning not taking her family for granted. She looked in the mirror to check her makeup and added a new coat of lip gloss.
I will put on a cheerful face and be grateful for the strong bonds that I have with my family.
Hadassah stuffed her cell into her purse. She opened the door and exited her escalade.
That's it? Why they stop right there?
Girl, don't complain. We got 2 episodes on the first drop.
Girl, you right. That was good though. Started off creepy, huh?
For real, though. Girl, I thought Hadassah and Tay were about to get caught. That would have been a short story.
Girl, I can't take it. I gotta see what happens next.
Troy is so smooth, though. He better not be a bad guy.
Run, Hadassah, run! I like her parents' relationship. That's what true love looks like. And Hadassah has such a fun job. She's a radio host. She's cute, got a good job, and a nice ride. I want to be her.
Girl, you're talking about true love. Did you just forget that Hadassah's parents hosted the creepy ritual party in their house? Girl, I don't trust nobody but Hadassah and Tay. Can't wait until the next episode.
I know that's right. Don't forget to like the video. It helps a lot.
And if you want to help even more, subscribe.
We hang out every week. Hit that bell so you'll be notified when we drop the next episode.
See you later.
I know that I look like I got it all together. Lying to myself like I'm down for whatever. Time to put up walls cause I'm catching feelings. Afraid to get hurt, what I need is some healing. Where are